Local activist here in Victoria, part of the We Are Change group as well. He's the star of Rhodes Rage on Freedom Free for All.
Yeah.
It's a local community television program here. If you haven't had a chance to view any of these videos on YouTube or on the internet, please do so. Very informative and very, very good. He's also an activist who's ran for federal politics here in BC as well. So without further ado, Brad Rhodes.
That's good. Hello, how you doing out there?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we've heard a lot of good speakers so far. A lot of good things have been mentioned. Not the least of which is raising our standards of expectation. I think we have a serious problem with that in this country. We accept absolutely dismal performance from our politicians and from our media, and that absolutely has to change. And the way to change that is to raise the standards that we expect. I mean, as a professional person, I don't care what trade you're in, you take pride in your work, you stand behind it. Why should we allow other people to work on our behalf who don't even come close to that standard of respectability? It doesn't make any sense. That is not a balanced and just society. I'm speaking directly about the fact that our society is not developed mentally enough to scrutinize the deceptions and lies that we are subject to. This is a monumental problem. This is a huge problem, and it's one that we have to sack. We have got to get to the point where we can deliberately and scrutinize our politicians and our power brokers that presume the prerogative to govern over us. And that's going to happen when we no longer have mind control. Okay? Mind control. That is a fact that we are suffering from in this society. It is very easily to verify this. I was talking just the other day with a family member, as a matter of fact. I've got to stay close to this microphone. As it turns out, I had recently had a conversation with a member of my family, and the subject came up about media mind control. My family member assured me that they were certainly not under the influence of mind control, and they were offended by the idea that I would even suggest such a thing. That's fair enough. So I knew this person bought the official 9/11 story. Okay, so I use this illustration as a singular example of media mind control, as it is arguably the most obvious one. Now, here the story goes that on 9/11, 110-story steel frame buildings hit by airplanes fell straight down into their own footprints at free fall speeds under 10 seconds. Now, let's picture this for a moment. Okay, as each floor collapses, all right, it hits another floor. This should cause a delay. And then it hits another floor. This should cause a delay. Then we're talking about steel frame, reinforced mesh steel, concrete. Okay, it causes resistance every time you hit the floor. Right? Okay, so the official story says, oh, this happened in under 10 seconds. That's just not possible if you do the math. It's just not possible. Okay, talk to architects, engineers, people that actually do demolition for profession. It just doesn't compute. If you take a 10-story building, let's just suppose, okay, because you're talking 110 stories within 10 seconds, that's about 1 second per 10 stories, right? So look at that concrete frame, steel frame, concrete reinforced building, and drop it in 1 second. It's the same analogy. It doesn't compute. Not unless you take out the infrastructure from within the building. Ask any demolition expert. It's not rocket science. Really, this is elementary. So, I mean, if you isolated this scenario where you have this building falling like that, under any other circumstances except for under the environment where the media controls your perception, you'd figure it out in a New York second. You'd say, that's impossible. But because it was presented to you through media mind control, you bought it. Okay? Now, I can make excuses for people that aren't in position of authority or a position to, guide society. We go along to get along, and we're preoccupied, and we don't investigate things. Fine enough. But when you have people in a position of authority, it is their job to know what's going on. It is inexcusable to be that incompetent. So, as I continued on the conversation with my family member, I asked them if they ever heard of Building 7. It wasn't even hit by an airplane. A 47-story building falling into its own footprint strictly due to fire. No airplane on this one at all. Okay? Then look at the 9/11 fable that does not add up at the Pentagon. Once again, look at the debris fields. Where's the evidence? There is no evidence. Just like the evidence down at the bottom of the towers. There should have been a pancake of buildings laying on top of it, just blown to smithereens. Most of the stuff was just fine dust. Okay? That is not a collapse scenario. So, if you believe the official story of 9/11, which is absolute rubbish, clearly you are under mind control. That's it. Sorry to break the news to you, but that's a fact. Okay? Now, there was a great article in a magazine. I don't know if you've heard of the new Agora. It's produced. We have copies down here. Great articles and very interesting synopsis of many events that are facing us in today's society. I suggest you take a look at it. But in the September issue, on the 2013, there was an article by Julius Sequeira. I hope I pronounced that right. And it was called Defining the Line of Conscience by Julius Sequeira. And I'm going to quote that article. It would be safe to say that everyone in every field of endeavor of the world can be identified by their position on this seminal event. It is not necessary to know the truth about 9/11. It is only necessary to know the extent of the lies in order to define any leader in any position anywhere in the world by what they have said and by what they have not said. One can accurately judge who is the enemy of the peoples of the world. One can accurately determine who is a tool of the psychopaths who perpetrated this heinous act, or is perhaps one of them.
Yeah.
I would interject. Do you want freedom?
Yeah.
Do you want solutions?
Yeah.
Okay, then we need to identify the people within our media, but particularly within our government, that go along with the official lies as the people that need to be expelled from the position of power and authority and influence because they are either A, mentally incompetent, or B, corrupt.
Yeah.
And therefore, they cannot be trusted with our children's future.
Yeah.
The article goes on to say, it tells you the place where your conscience lives, or once lived, whether you are a hypocrite, a fool, or whether something greater still lives within you. It is impossible for any rational thinking people to accept that 9/11 was a lie and simultaneously reject the fact that there is a shadow force at work that is being kept hidden from us. These two realities are inseparable. They're fused at the hip. No thinking mind can accept one and dismiss the other. All you have to do is open your eyes and think. If 9/11 was a lie, then everything of importance you watch on television and read in newspapers is an organic outgrowth of that monstrous lie. The same force that orchestrated 9/11 also controls at the very highest level of the mainstream media, that feeds your mind. So in other words, everything you are being force-fed is bullshit. That's the article. I didn't write it, I'm just reading it. It goes on to say, take a good hard look in the mirror, my friend, and question what you see there. Are you a traitor? Are you a coward? Are you a fool?
Okay.
or an intelligent human being with a conscience and the responsibility to do what is right and good for your family, your society, your country, and for humanity.
Yeah.
Then act as your inner compass guides you. Nothing less than the future of the world is at stake. So, we're talking about raising the standards. Let's raise them. If people are in charge in a position of authority, they need to prove that they're at least mentally competent enough to understand grade 5 physics.
Yeah.
And do not presume to tell me what is true. If you have in any argument, you have your side, you have my side, you have the truth. You could have a wall that's out of whack, or maybe leaning some way. And one guy says, no, it's leaning this way. No, it's leaning that way. No, it's leaning this way. No, it's leaning that way. Or you can simply put a plumb bob up, check the freaking wall, measure off the plumb bob, and you can decide which way it's leaning. Okay? So there's no your truth and my truth. There is the truth. In any argument, there's your side, my side, but there's always the truth. And in order to accurately assess what the problems are, we have to accurately understand what the truth is. Nothing short of this will do. These people are incompetent. Anyone that is not speaking up about this issue that is getting our troops into foreign countries to kill people we know nothing about. Bombing children with depleted uranium and white phosphorus. Morally indefensible. It is time to set the standards. Thank you very much. And it's raised very high. We do it for ourselves. Let's make damn sure we do it for those who presume to be in charge. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Yeah.